Say hello.
Hi.
Say mommy.
Mommy.
Say daddy.
Daddy.
Say titi.
Titi.
Say boo boo.
Bubble.
Say uncle.
Uncle.
Say
Sit down.
sit down.
Sit down.
Say you.
You.
Say love you.
Ow.
Say thank you.
Ow.
Say sorry.
Say.
One.
One.
Say two.
Two.
Say three.
Shit.
Say four.
Two. Four.
Say five.
Four. Five.
Say five.
Five.
Say red.
Five.
Say blue.
Two.
Say green.
Geese.
Say yellow.
Owl.
Say tree. Not the tree.
Say shoe.
Fish.
Say shoe.
Shoe.
Say bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Lovers Quarrel. It's a long, sustained quarrel.
What's going on, world?
Hey everybody,
It's your guy TJ, Mr. New Cool.
and it is your girl Dani, back to being a permanently exhausted pigeon.
And this is the first episode of the new year
2019.
of Lovers Quarrel, episode number 53.
All right.
And
Yeah, like,
excuse me.
so we are in the new year. We hope everybody had a safe and prosperous and fun holiday. And,
A holiday or New Year?
well, New Year's is a holiday.
I'm just asking. Our New Year was trash.
I don't think our New Year was trash. I think our New
It
Year's
was pretty washed.
we spent time with family and we
Wash.
played games and
Wash.
we ate. So what
Didn't eat.
what did you want for yourself for the new year?
What did I want for myself? For the
Like
New Year?
for like New Year's Eve, like what type of
I don't
celebration were
know.
you looking for?
I would have loved to like go out, maybe
But
dress up. I don't know.
well, I mean, I was content with that. I mean, we went to Vegas last year, and so that was us dressing up and going out and being out of town for
I think
New Year's.
going away is dope too. I mean, it wasn't trash in the sense that like I didn't like being with the family. I'm just saying that it was washed. It was very boring. It was very vanilla.
Okay. I mean, again, I am definitely recording secretary of Team Washed, so that doesn't faze
Might be the
me.
president, CEO.
You know, I don't really like to be like in charge, but I definitely like to be supportive. So I would say like recording secretary, maybe, you know, sergeant at arms, but definitely like a part of Team Washed.
I mean,
But I mean,
I don't want to be washed yet. That's why when you get older, like when you're an old person, you start becoming washed. You know what I mean?
but I don't think that being washed is necessarily like a bad thing. I just think that like, so for me, yeah, I'm washed, but it's also too because I feel like my idea of fun changes as I've gotten
I
older.
mean, that happens.
Like every once in a while I want to go out, but yeah, you know, a lot of times it sounds more like a lot of work than I care to do. Like if I didn't have, you know, a job and a kid and all this other stuff like that, like I might be more inclined to want to like turn up more often, but like being around my loved ones, being around my family, my friends, and being comfortable and having all of the things that make me happy around, that to me sounds like an amazing fucking time. And so I'm not saying that that's not how you feel too, but I just know that like being washed for me is like a welcome idea 99% of the time, because shit, everything else sounds fucking like exhausting. Like, goddamn, I gotta change my clothes. I go back out. Like all the memes and stuff, they're mad true, which is like, if I come in the house and I take my bra off, I'm not going back outside. Okay? If I come in and you talk about, oh yeah, whatever you try to have me go to starts at 10 o'clock, you have a good night and I will talk to you tomorrow. Like,
Isn't that like kind of giving up though? It's kind of like,
I don't know if I feel like I'm giving up. I just don't know if it's just not always what I want to do. Especially, I guess I'll say
you
this.
miss out on so much by not even.
But what am I missing out on?
I'm just saying, you may miss out on the best night of your life because you're because you took your bra off and now you're like, I can't go anywhere. I just think we shouldn't be conditioned that once you get to a certain age or once you get a certain spot in your life, as you should give up.
Well, I don't look at it as giving up. I look at it as I don't desire the same things I did when I was 24 as I do now at 31, going on 32 now. And I don't have the same, like, and quite honestly, like, my idea of fun has changed over the course of my adult life. Like, going to when we were fresh, well, when I was fresh out of college and we were still living not far from Taos and whatever, going out to the bars during the middle of the week was a good time. Now going out during the week sounds like a hassle because there's other things going on that we have, like, and I still have to get up in the morning, and it doesn't sound fun to me because it just sounds like I'm going to be paying for it the next day. And then too, even outside of that, not just looking at it as like, okay, I'm going to be tired, I don't want to, dress up or whatever. Like, the best parts of my time going out most times is not where I am, it's who I'm with. So if I'm with those people who I might be going out with, like if I'm with you, if I'm with my sister, if I'm with my friends, if I'm with whoever, and we are at a bar having drinks or whatever versus at a club, or if we're in the house and watching a Netflix movie and drinking and whatever, that's still a good time because it's about for me, it's like, it's more about the company than the location now. But I also understand how that makes me look washed, and that's why I said I accept it fully. So, not to go on a tangent. My apologies, folks.
I mean, as you did. But
so shady.
How's that shady? Yeah. I hate when people say things are shady when it's the truth. Like, if someone's speaking the truth, doesn't mean that they're shady.
Okay, but why do you have to, you don't have to, co-sign. I just acknowledge that I was rambling or I was on a tangent.
So it's okay for you to speak the truth, but if someone else co-signs it, it's a problem.
It's not if somebody co-signs it, but it's just what is your point in saying it? Like,
I'm acknowledging it. I'm acknowledging that you acknowledge that you're washed. That's it.
So you don't think that sometimes it could be like a little mean, or a little like you try to be like you try to take a jab?
We are in the new 2019. People are softer.
So now you're calling me soft?
No, I'm just saying that everything is like, everything gets taken out of context and everybody's so up in their arms and you can't talk about this, you can't joke about that, you can't say these things, you can't say that. Like, everything is just so delicate. Everybody are eggs, and it's like, don't touch the egg too rough. So,
well, I'm guessing you're talking about some celebrities or whatever that have been under scrutiny. And what I say to this,
I mean, celebrities. I'm just saying in general, we have this new philosophy that everything's problematic. Everything is an issue. If you make a joke, you're racist. If you make a joke, you're homophobic. If you say this, everything's an issue. Nothing can be said, and you got to worry about how you say it, because otherwise, everybody's sensitive. Everybody's hypersensitive about every little thing.
Is everybody sensitive, or is just people are now just more recently in recent years calling people out on it? You can call somebody out, you can say what you want to say. You can say whatever you want to say, but now you can't get mad if I take issue with it or if I have a problem with it, because that's my prerogative too. You feel like you can make a racist joke, a homophobic joke, a sexist joke, whatever. But now if I choose to take up issue with it and call you out on it, then you can't be mad too. It doesn't make me sense. It doesn't necessarily make me sensitive. It just means that I think that I think what you said is bullshit, and I think it's whack.
So then say that. Don't say, oh, you're being shady. Say, I think what you're saying is bullshit, and then say what you mean instead of.
I thought that was a shady comment, but
okay.
I think I
apologize.
I accept your apology. You know what? I'll be sensitive because you know what? The thing about it is that my sensitive ass and all these other people out here, the only difference now with what's going on is like the shit that was being said before by people in general, making jokes and stuff like that. A lot of that shit was never okay to begin with, but people didn't feel empowered enough to speak up on it because they didn't want to be targeted or whatever or viewed as sensitive. But there's been a shift.
So then, we should change the First Amendment. Don't have free speech.
No, you can have
it should
free
be free
speech
with censor. Like,
but
you can have free speech, but when you have free speech, watch what you say about this, and this. And don't talk about that, and don't talk about this. You can talk about what you want, but be aware that when you talk about it, this, and this may happen.
What I'll say to you is this. A quote I learned that I always tell my kids. You are free to choose, but you are not free from the consequences of your choice. So you could choose to say whatever the hell you want, but if what you say gets you backlash or gets you put your foot in your mouth or get you in trouble, that is the consequence of choosing your words. I'm an ardent supporter of the First Amendment as well, but
we all have choices.
You're right, but even still, there are people who have like. The First Amendment doesn't protect all speech because the First Amendment doesn't protect people who use their words to incite violence because you are choosing and you are encouraging people to commit harms against other people. So all speech is not free. It's just, but most of it is.
I'm saying no. Should you speak hate crimes? Should you say I hate all gay people and if a gay person come near me, I'm going to kill them? No, you should not say stuff like that. 100%. But I think that if you're a comedian and you're making jokes about gay people or you're making jokes about something that happened in the world, it shouldn't be looked at as how dare you say that?
But why does somebody else's pain have to be?
That's what comedy is.
You can laugh. You can make fun of your own.
That's what comedy is.
You can make fun of your own.
So I can only make fun of myself. I can't make fun of anything else. Like. To me,
I think you can't generalize groups of people.
Comedy is also, but who said I'm generalizing? I'm making a joke about this situation. I'm not saying all.
Okay, so what I'll say, so then I think it depends on what you're saying. Like I've heard comedians make jokes about gay people or about being gay or what, or not necessarily being gay, but like about gay people that I can admit that I've laughed at, but then, the question then becomes, are they talking about an experience with a particular person or are they trying to generalize an entire group of people? Like the whole shit with Kevin Hart, right? So he, his whole thing with the Oscars and how he backed out or whatever because he said he apologized already. And now I'll say this. I haven't seen anything in social media or in the news where it like shows like he tweeted or he stated something about him apologizing or like where that apology came from that he's saying he had already done. But the joke that he got in trouble for or was being criticized for was he had made years ago was about if he like came home and saw his son playing with dollhouse, he would like
he'll break it over his head and say in my voice, stop, that's gay.
Yeah. But I think so like Kid Fury on the Read was saying made this point though, which is like why people took issue with it is because there are people out there in this world who will do just that, who will crack their child over the head if they even suspect them of being gay. There was a child who, not in not this year, last year I think, who he confessed to his parents that he thought he was bisexual. I guess he was like 10. Mm-hmm. They beat him to death. And
that's wrong.
But
I don't take nothing away from that. But I also say, as a comedian, reading the tweet and just picturing who Kevin Hart is, I don't think Kevin Hart was being a homophobe, but I understand how things can be taken out of context. My thing is just, how far is it going to go? Is the next thing I'm going to do start saying, this book that you wrote, you're bullying somebody in this book, and now we're going to say this book isn't good enough? Are we going to start looking at movies and be like, they have a bullying scene. That movie needs to be banned. Mm-hmm. When does it stop?
All I'll say is this: is that I think that
I feel like. I'm sorry.
I think that I don't think that, no. Do I think that people need to be like, all of a sudden this censorship needs to happen on every single thing that everybody says, and people have to be super PC all the time? No, because it's unrealistic. And people make jokes, and people, even though people make jokes about things, it doesn't always automatically mean that they are, they are racist, sexist, anti-Muslim, anti-women, homophobic, whatever, transphobic. Does it automatically translate to that? No. But I think what it comes down to is like, there are other ways you can show that you're evolving. I think that's another thing that somebody you and I both listen to, Charlemagne, always talks about, right? Is that you need to show evolution, and that you can admit that the stuff that you said in the past was wrong, and then not do it again. That's
perfect.
But that means you have to change.
But so when a person does change, you have to be accepting of that change. You can't say, "Oh no, you said this 4 years ago, so this is still who you are."
But you can respond to it and say, "I did say it. I was wrong for saying it." That's the thing, though,
and that's what Kevin Hart did.
When they wanted him
to do it
again.
But
when and where, I never saw the when and where if he did it the first time. So that's one part. And I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying that, like, I kept hearing the part about him saying, I've apologized already about this. I'm not going to apologize again. But never during this whole narrative or this thread of him being in the news did I ever see anything where it was like, this is where he apologized. Here's the tweet. Here is the statement. Here's his mea culpa on, why he was wrong for what he said. Because, again, you're free to choose. But what another saying is, if you say it, forget it. If you write it, regret it. You're going to live to regret it. So especially if it's written down or if it's recorded, people are going to take that. And people
I get that.
are going to go back into digging through the crates.
I'm not taking that away. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, our new generation is soft. Maybe I grew up in an archaic society. So that's it. But
we grew up in a different generation.
We did.
But I don't think everybody is soft.
People joked on us, and it was a joke. That was it. It wasn't considered bullying. It wasn't considered harmful. It wasn't, when I grew up and people called me fat, it was never like, oh my God, you're fat shaming. You're a fat shamer. And like, kids were just mean, and you joke, and you either were going to be a joker, you're either going to be able to learn how to joke back, or you just going to take it. But now it's like, if somebody jokes, you can probably get somebody expelled and be like, this person's a fat shamer.
Well,
and that's sad. That's sad that we've come to a point where it's literally like how do you move? Because you may have a child, and you tell your child, hit somebody back if they touch you, and now you're considered a bully. Now you're considered an aggressor because you hit back.
Okay, but in all fairness, so you and I grew up in the same generation. We, and people, I'm sure, thought people have plenty to say about millennials, which is the generation that we're a part of, and about how we're soft, and they talk about us too. And then you're saying the same thing about people coming up now, and I definitely agree that there's a balance, and that there's some people who take it too far as hypersensitivity. But at the same time, though, just because that's what we were accustomed to, and our older siblings and our parents were accustomed to, just because that was what was the norm, or does that mean that should still be acceptable nowadays? It's like, things change all the time. Things change all the time. Because there was a time,
I will agree with you.
There was a time where calling black people coloreds, and being able to, and that was,
but that's also
acceptable.
Calling someone colored, you were doing that to be offensive, and I think that's the difference. If someone's doing something to be offensive, 100%, I think you're wrong. But if we're joking, if we're laughing, I don't know.
I just think that sometimes it may, it might seem what might come across as being hypersensitive is just what we're witnessing is like a cultural shift towards being better because
and I'm okay with that because I'm okay with being better.
It's fucked up to talk bad about people,
but it's life.
It is life.
That's life.
But or should I say, it's fucked up to talk about. It's fucked up to talk about groups of people that are sometimes oppressed or marginalized.
I get that. I'm not taking away from that, but it's also fucked up that now everything that you say can be taken out of context.
I can agree with that too, because
everything that you say, every way that you think, anything that's done, you really have to second think it.
You do have to second guess it, because we are now because the thing about it too that has getting everybody caught up, because I'll say this,
we're in a video recorded.
Yeah, and like we're a lot of the things that people are getting caught up for are things that people have been saying for years, for decades. The difference is now is that because we have all of these platforms in which people can instantly put whatever thought comes into their brain out to the world, to the universe, that's what happens. And then it becomes a running log or a running record of your comments. I'm sure you and I have tweeted shit from 9 years ago when we first got on Twitter that either we can't even remember what we were talking about, but if you read it out of context, if you don't read a thread, that it looks in isolation, it looks crazy. And I will agree with you on this. People don't use context a lot, where they sometimes they try to just pull out or isolate one thing or one comment or whatever, and then hold somebody's feet to the fire about it. The guy, the Spanish dude who like feeds the deer or whatever, he was like, somebody went digging through the crates of his tweets and he wrote some, like, I don't know if it was homophobic or whatever types of languages that he was using, and he was like literally 12. But what I'll say is this, is that he addressed it. He said, I was a kid. I didn't know any better. I'm older. I'm wiser. I won't do that. He addressed it, and then people moved on. That wasn't necessarily fair to him.
But I also feel like some things you don't have. If he did something as a 12-year-old, why does he have to apologize?
Because there's millions of people who did not look far enough to know that he was 12.
So you look far enough to find an old tweet, but you didn't do your due diligence to see when the tweet was. Like, to me,
when do people do their due diligence when it comes to social media?
I'm just saying, and that goes to the other point. That's why social media is the fucking devil.
And you get it on a t-shirt.
I do. Social media is the fucking devil, because there's people out there who's just waiting to do some fucked up shit, like waiting for someone to finally hit a plateau. Well, not plateau.
A peak.
Yeah, to hit a monumental moment. To be like, I had this tweet. I screenshotted this tweet from 15 years ago. I couldn't wait for you to peak, so that way I can
bring you down.
Oh, I can bring you down. Or like when Tiffany Haddish, she bombed her show, and there was a guy who like video recorded himself heckling her. Heckling. Like, how fucking...
Because people are trolls. People are trolls and trash human beings. They exist. But I think I'm not condoning it. I don't like it. I don't think that it's appropriate either. But at the same time, I think that like we can't apply old thinking to the new ways that people go about doing stuff. You have to adjust accordingly, which is, you have all these platforms in which you could communicate with people, and people push out their thoughts the same way they breathe a lot of these days. So then you either have to be mindful about what the hell you're saying, or when you get caught up, or if and when you get caught up, you have to be prepared to move in that
if you're a person navigate of color, those waters. 100% yes. We have a president who,
and he's a fucking psycho, and he absolutely gets away with murder.
Tweets literally whatever murder. He wants. He says grab women by the pussy, and that's okay.
That's white privilege, absolutely.
That's okay. And,
it's not okay.
I'm just saying. People, they have a GoFundMe for the wall.
I know.
And it's up like $17 million.
Yeah.
It made $2 million in like 2 days.
Yeah.
How fucking nuts is that?
It's insane.
And how insane that GoFundMe even fucking allowed it to stay.
I think it's fucked up too. And it's white people and more white people. All the people in
We
power.
care more about how people are joking about each other and what people are saying. We don't care enough that there's a GoFundMe that has $17 million to build a fucking wall to keep foreigners out because we don't like foreigners because of whatever his idea is. These foreigners are leaving their country. Granted, there are some bad foreigners who's coming over to sell drugs or, start their gangs or whatever. But a lot of them are leaving because they want a better life.
Yes.
America was built off of immigrants, and now we're saying nope, not anymore.
Because they don't want brown immigrants and black immigrants.
Not Donald Trump's America.
Nope. And it's white people and more white people. So he gets away with saying everything that he says on there because you have white people everywhere who agree with him and who want to enable him because they want to make sure that their spot is still secure. When I'm talking about like politicians and stuff like that in DC. But saying that all to say, and I guess, you and I kind of definitely had our quarrel at the beginning of the show. I think we can agree to disagree on some parts though. Ultimately, people are fucking trash because the trolls are trash. The people who say disrespectful and hateful things or make rude jokes have to basically be able to be prepared to deal with the consequences of those things. So
if somebody's okay with dealing with the consequences, they can say whatever they want, pretty much. That's what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that, again, I cannot control what comes out of somebody else's mouth. And they have to be willing to accept whatever consequences kind of come along with that. If they're saying things that are offensive to groups of people, that are especially groups of people that are marginalized or oppressed. Like you gotta be able to take if you want to ride that wave, if you say, I'm going to say what I feel, I'm going to say this, that, and the other, and then whatever backlash I receive as a result of it because I've upset people, if you accept that readily, then, I guess, that's fair is fair, whatever. I would hope that ideally people's opinions and perspectives would shift over time to be a little bit more open-minded to those groups of people. But if they're not, then the least you could do is have to take it on the chin.
No, I can understand that. I'm just saying, I think we have to stop being as soft and kind of allow these kids to hear some mean things, go through some quote unquote mean things, so that way they can be prepared for the world. The world isn't nice.
The world isn't nice.
And if we keep on trying to, everybody gets a trophy and everybody's a winner, that's not how the real world works.
It's not. There are always winners
and
losers.
I'm just saying, sometimes your child needs to get beat, and people are like, oh my God, ACS and all this other. No, sometimes a whooping is needed. Sometimes your child needs to get beat, and sometimes we need to stop. Oh my God, it's a child. They shouldn't be beat. They should just sometimes you need to get a whooping. Sometimes you got to be joked on. Sometimes you gotta go outside and not be on the internet and not be on social media. Sometimes you just have to. You have to go through life like real world. You have to go through that.
I agree. So I'll say this. You do sometimes need to be knocked down a peg or two especially when you're growing up, because you want to make sure that you're not walking in this world naive. I agree with that, but do you have to? I just think it keeps coming back to it's not like if I'm talking about TJ, if I'm clowning TJ, or if I'm knocking you down a peg because you think that you're high and mighty or whatever, and I say something that puts you in your place. But I'm talking specifically about you. I feel like that's one thing. But if I attack you for things that you like, if I attack you for things that are like outside of your control, like your sexual orientation, like your race, like those types of things, then I feel like I'm coming at you for things that you can't control. If I talk about your attitude, if I talk about your decision, the choice you make. So
your thing is all about context.
I think it is about context, because I don't
think I've ever joked on somebody about what.
I mean, I know you haven't, but I'm just,
No, I'm trying to think. I mean, I've joked on people. I mean, appearance wise, but what if they were poor? I mean, I wasn't thinking that. I mean, typically though, if I was joking on you, you started with me. Like I wouldn't come through the gate that way. But I'm just, all I'm saying is that I just think we have to stop being as soft as we are. That's it.
And I don't think that it's being soft necessarily all the time. I think I think there's a culture shift happening, and people who are behind the curve on that culture shift look at it as people being soft. I look at it as, now again, hypersensitivity is a thing, and there are times when things are hypersensitive, but I think it's more so than not a shift of where people are moving away from, like, I can't go around talking crazy about different groups of people
100%. But that's what I said.
Or I can, but I have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah,
and that
I
people
agree
have a
with
right
that.
to be upset. If I'm gay, I can be upset that you're making
no.
gay jokes if you're making jokes at my expense. If I'm black and you're making jokes about black people, I can be upset because you're making jokes about my race. If I'm a woman,
I agree. I don't. If you're saying something to be offensive, then yes, you have a right to be sensitive about that. You have a right to feel some way about that.
But
I'm saying that the sensitivity is coming when there's a group of kids and they're all joking on each other, and it's always or a comedian is making a joke, and when he's joking about his own life or he's joking about this group of people, it's okay. And then once it comes to you, the individual, now you feel some type of way.
I understand that.
That's a problem.
It's flawed.
That's a problem. That's a problem that you can laugh and everything is so funny on everything else. But then when it comes about you, it's an issue. When Dave Chappelle was doing his show and they want him to do more racial things, more like black people and white people are laughing so hysterically, and he's like, I quit. The media and everybody killed him.
Yeah.
They try to tarnish who he was as a person because he stopped.
And I understand that. He took a stand and he dealt with and he might have been looked at as soft too, because he was like, it's just jokes, because he like that, because for that argument, they wanted him to make certain skits that played up like black stereotypes or tropes or whatever.
Yeah.
And he started looking around the room and realizing that it was the white people that he worked with that were yucking it up the most at these skits and stuff, and he was uncomfortable with it, and he didn't like how black people were being portrayed, so he walked away. And he could so
and so I'm saying that to say that that's not a problem.
But I'm sure people called him hypersensitive and soft, okay. But then also there were people who looked at it as he took a stand and he addressed it. And he made a choice to rectify the situation. His choice was walking away from a wildly popular show. But all I'm saying is the Dave Chappelle thing, I think, is a good example of how one person's hypersensitive is another person's taking a stand against something that's not right.
We can agree to disagree.
We sure can.
And now,
welcome to Lovers Quarrel again.
We can get into our elevator.
Yeah, we haven't done the elevator talk.
No.
All right. Are you going up or down? I'm clearly, I know you guys can hear me. I'm fighting off the cold that Tatum had. Up. So excuse my voice.
Don't try to blame Tatum.
Was she not sick?
She had a fever. She
doesn't have a cough and a sneeze. I'm not stuffy.
She got a weak ass immune system.
I do have a weak ass immune system, so, and then she was crying my name.
I don't think it's because anyway.
She was in my face.
Can we go up?
Going up.
So I'm gonna go up this week, and when this episode releases, I would be with my company for 3 years.
Yes.
And I will be fully vested.
Woo woo.
To my 401k. So now I can start looking for a new job.
Shout out, 'tis the season.
So
let's find you some more better, not more better, just some better gainful employment and happy.
Just look for growth. That's it.
Definitely.
But, hitting 3 years, hitting fully vested. Those are one of those things that when when you work, I don't think people always look at those type of benefits. But 401k, that's like free money, so you can get it. It's great for retirement and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at. That's my highlight.
Well, good for you, baby, and let's get it on and popping with your new search, and I can't wait for you to find something better. For myself, I'm gonna say I'm going down, and you guys, it's January, so that means I am, school's back in session, and it's only a 3-day week, but of course my kids figure out a way to squeeze 5 days, or really 10 days worth of drama into 2 days because they were having issues over the break. And like you always say, TJ, social media is the devil, because 100% of all the drama started on Instagram. And then here I am coming in, trying to do some new me, new year, new me stuff, and they just bring in the same old stupidity with them.
If they were outside, it wouldn't be a problem.
If they didn't have phones, it wouldn't be a problem.
Nah, if they were outside, you gotta be outside. Like, if you're outside having fun, you're not looking at your phone.
Yeah, but that's not the world we live in anymore.
I get that. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that if they were outside, if they were doing something productive with themselves, they wouldn't have time to be looking at their phone.
Yeah. Well, they definitely zapped me of all that energy I was able to, and rest I was able to accomplish over the break. So that's all I'm just going to complain about a little bit. But, it's almost the weekend, so we'll get a little break, and then we'll keep going, keep pushing to the next break. And with that being said, you ready for the relationship tip of the week?
I am.
All right. How about I give you a nod and you go first?
Nah, you got it.
You always... Okay. All right. So, my relationship tip of the week. And I know mine are always a little... they're very eloquent and thoughtful, unlike some people we know who are co-hosts on this show. My relationship tip of the week, I would say it has to... I'll tie it into, like, the new year, because... people made resolutions. They make resolutions. Of course, there's many that will be left by the wayside, and then there's some that people will stick with. But I encourage you to make maybe at least one, and if really just one, because you don't want to necessarily bite off more than you can chew. Make one resolution as a couple, and that's something that TJ and I did not do this year. But
Cause you're only fucking me for real, but. That's besides the point.
See, Exhibit B, shady. You always gotta take a little dig, because you just have to say something. And
is that a dig, or is that me just being truthful?
But it's a truthful dig.
Okay.
And I do fuck with you. I just because we didn't make one. It's something I thought about today, so that's why I was going to suggest that we try to do.
Don't.
One. I do not like you, sir.
That's cool.
So, basically, you try to make a combined resolution. It could be about financial freedom, or getting out of debt. It could be about health. It could be about self-care. It can be about quality time, whatever. But try to make one together, so that way you have something to work towards as a unit, because resolutions are typically, and rightfully so, very personal and tailored to you as a person. Like, I did a vision board on New Year's Day, and I hope to, and my vision board was kind of very tailored to the things that I want to see for myself, but also there were things in there that I want that influence my relationships with other people too. But try to have, or do a couple's vision board. That's an option too. So basically, what I'm saying is that go into this new year, this fresh start that is January, and try to commit to one thing that you want to work on as a couple, or accomplish more of as a couple, and see how you fare. So that is my relationship tip of the week. How about you, Mr. Byerson?
With the new year, I'm just gonna say, it's a new year. You get 365 new days keep your relationship strong and going. And I'm gonna say, don't forget to have fun and be spontaneous. As my wife said earlier, things have changed for her. When the bra's off, she don't want to do anything, and I think that that kills relationships. I think that sometimes you have to put the bra back on. You got to do things that you don't want to do to be able to keep things going, to be able to keep things strong and be able to grow. I feel like some of the best nights people have are spontaneous nights.
I can agree.
I think back in college, some of my best nights were nights where it was just like ain't nothing going on. You'd be like, fuck it, you want to go here? Like when we went to Sonic's.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
We drove to Pennsylvania to go to Sonic's because they didn't have it in Maryland.
Yeah. And
we made it into a road trip and had a great time. But imagine if Dani would have kept her bra off. We would never have that story. So I'm just going to say, don't forget to have fun and be spontaneous. Don't forget to, do the things that keep you going. It's easy to be lazy and to be. It's easier to be lazy and not do things than to have to put in effort. So remember, you have to always put in effort.
So what you're saying is put the bra back on in 2019.
I can't hear you.
I said, sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. I said, so what you're saying is put the bra back on in 2019.
For those people out there, yeah.
All right, I could fuck with it. I could. And
I win. And with that, we're gonna take a break, and you're gonna hear a message from our sponsors.
Hey friend, it's time for you to ditch those workout gloves and get the grip and wrist support you deserve. What do you suggest? You need to get the Gainz Load and Lock grips by Gainz Sports Gear. They are more durable than gloves, have a non-slip grip pad that provides grip support and added wrist support unlike your traditional workout gloves, and will protect your hands from calluses. Do they come in different colors? Not only do they come in different colors, but they are available for men and women. Do yourself a favor, go to GainSportsGear.com. And remember, a better grip equals a better lift. Embrace the process.
Listen, it's the new year, 2019. And I know everybody's resolution is to lose some weight. So listen, use our code Lovers10 at Gainz. That's Gainz with a Z, Gainz, sportsgear.com. Get 10% off your first order, and you can get all your workout gear from Gainz Sports Gear. You can get everything you need at one location. You can get the workout gear, you can get the clothes to work out in, you can get a bag to put all your workout stuff in, so when you leave work, you already have your stuff there. Listen, Gainz Sports Gear has everything you need. So you need to embrace the process. Use our code Lovers10 and get ready for the summer. And now, back to your episode. And now we're back, y'all, and it's been a while since we've had any lover letters, and
yes,
but we had guests and then we had special episodes,
live shows.
The live show definitely pushed a lot of things back, but we have a letter from one of our lovers who I think this is a great topic for the new year. So,
and a common problem. So
I don't know if it's common. It might be.
Let's
see.
I've talked to some,
You've
at least
okay.
to my friends.
Okay.
So the letter reads as follows. It says, "Dear Dani and TJ, first off, I want to say I love your show. Keep up the good work. Thank you, girl. But I have a dilemma. I was seeing a guy for a couple of months, and I was trying to get to know him and spend time with him before we got intimate. Everything was going well. He made me laugh. He got along with my child. He took me out, and we had overall a really good time together, even to the point where we had FaceTime dates in the morning and in the evening to say good morning and good night. Here's where the problem lies. When it came time for us to do the deed, everything was whack. And everything was whack is in caps. So just to kind of give you a little background, some context, right? That's important in 2019.
Facts.
So the head was whack. So then when we stopped having, when he stopped giving me head, the sex was whack. His private parts, his penis, was not all that to write home about.
Did she put privates?
I said private parts, but then I was like, I might as well say penis. We're all grown. Okay.
She said penis. She didn't say dick. She didn't say his gat, his piece. Anyway, go ahead. Finish.
Maybe
Finish. Go ahead.
trying to remove herself. Maybe there's a difference for her between penis and dick. Like
right.
the dick can be good, but the penis is bad.
Got you.
Okay. So, then where did I leave off? Okay. And his penis was not even all that big to begin with. So now he's still treating me the same way, but now that I know that the sex is trash, I don't really want to talk to him anymore, and I want to cut him off. Am I wrong for wanting to cut him off? Am I wrong for being annoyed now by those same things I found cute and sweet before we had sex? Please help. Signed. Well, I guess I can't put her real name, so we'll just say, what's a fake name? We'll call her January. Okay.
Signed January. All right, so
everything
everything was good. Everything's good, but the sex was trash.
Whack, all caps. Trash, all caps. So what does somebody like that do? Because I don't think she's wrong for
she
trying to
got
cut
a
her
kid
losses.
already, so it's kind of like, obviously you found someone that was worthy enough to
meet your kid.
No, to give you a baby. So saying that to say you've had to had some good sex.
Oh.
So now that you have trash sex, listen, if you don't think you can do it, I don't think you're wrong.
Cut your losses.
I think it just depends on how you're gonna do it.
I think too. Sex is such a major part of any relationship, romantic wise, for most people and most couples. And even if you don't have sex frequently, or even if you don't like everything about it, like, you have to enjoy it with that person to some degree in order for your relationship to kind of sustain itself. Because in a romantic relationship, you want to be intimate with that person from time to time, and if the entire experience from start to finish, based on how you described it, is trash,
there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, like you're not going to be able to get around
See
it.
if they're open to like open relationships, and then you can have someone on the side, and you can, you know what I mean?
Well, to each his or her own, but that just always sounds like kind of messy. But I will ask you this, January. Before you completely cut off this person, you have, I guess, ask yourself, are the things that he was terrible at things that you think that you could coach or give feedback to in order to get a better outcome? Now, I'm not saying that you have to do that, but I'm saying that if you
she's saying that he doesn't have, it doesn't seem like there's anything that can be done.
Well, that's why I'm before
cut your losses. I'm gonna be direct. Danny's very nice, so Danny's very she doesn't want anybody to lose. She wants everybody to win.
No, that's
she
not
wants
what...
everyone. Listen, you're not happy, and you're probably not gonna be happy. So you're probably better off cutting your losses. It's only been a couple of months. He did meet your child already, so that's also but other than that, cut your losses while you can.
I agree with TJ, but all I'm saying is just just in case to cover our bases, if you haven't taken into consideration, I don't know how many times you slept with this person. I don't know if it was like a one and done thing. Is it possible where the areas in which he lacks, be it from oral to actual sex, if there are ways that you think that you could kind of walk him through doing a better job at things, would that help change your mind or change your outlook on it? But you are not required or obligated to do that either.
I think that.
So if you don't want to do that, then don't do that either. I'm just saying,
why do all that if it's not what you want? If it's not what you want, who wants to have to?
No, some people don't want to have to coach
somebody. Who has
somebody.
time for that? She has a child that she got to take care of, so she got to raise her child and her man.
Well,
cut him.
Because
Cut him.
I only say that because
cool.
I only say that because he
Cut
was
him.
everything that she wanted up until that point. So, but all I'm saying is, if she has already considered that, tried that, whatever, what I'm suggesting,
for her to write
or doesn't want to
into
do
us,
that,
for her to write into us, obviously it's a big enough problem that she wanted advice for it. So if it's that big of a problem, cut him.
that's my advice. That's
Okay, and my advice is to cut him. That's
and
it.
my advice is to cut him too. But
Cut him with thought. Is your advice?
I guess so. It's just because she didn't
much
divulge. She didn't divulge if she had done these things already. If she's done these things already and nothing has changed, absolutely cut him. If she doesn't care to do those things,
I get it.
Cut him.
That's cool.
All I'm saying is that is a possibility of a resolution.
I understand it. All I'm saying is cut him.
Cut him. Okay. Well, I hope January. I hope that you found that some helpful in some way, shape, or form. And please, email us, hit us up, let us know how you're doing in the dating field or how he responded once you give him the full blown axe. So that's it for our listener letters. And
For
now,
this week. And,
yes.
Our quarrel this week, we can discuss the infamous Pod Piper of R&B,
Which says a lot.
R. Kelly.
So yeah,
Tonight aired his documentary. And,
surviving R. Kelly.
Danny's quick to write off people, so she doesn't like R. Kelly anymore. Whereas I'm kind of like, I can write you off, but I can also separate the two. The difference between R. Kelly, the artist, and Robert Kelly, the person.
But both of them are criminals.
R. Kelly, I can say both of them are criminals.
Because, all right, let's back it up for a second. So TJ and I watched the first two parts of the documentary this evening. They have so many people coming out of the woodwork to talk about this that they had to put it over 3 nights. And this is stuff that you and I specifically already knew, have heard about when we were growing up. And this is just more confirmation. They even had his own ex-wife on there who was apparently a victim as well. And I am sorry. No, I'm not going to support or listen to someone who has been so consistently predatory on young black girls for decades now at this point. Like, why? I mean, and there's songs that he have that I love, but I think that, like, when is enough enough? When do you take a stand? And I know that you have this whole, the feeling about like, okay, well, we got to keep the same energy. You got to, cut everybody off, whatever. I've said on this show multiple times how, like, I've canceled Kanye, I've canceled R. Kelly. But I will say this, I will cancel R. Kelly more so than I'll even cancel Kanye, because R. Kelly, the shit he's doing is criminal. He preys on young fucking girls. He tells them that he's going to help them become singers or dancers, whatever, in the industry. And then he, like, manipulates them. And what's ill to me with this podcast, with the series that they're showing, is there are so many people, and you can tell that these people are pussyfooting around and they're dancing around a lot of the things that they're saying, because they were complicit, if not, they were complicit in the very least with R. Kelly's predatory behavior.
I mean, that was the most disturbing thing for me. Just seeing it, like, you've heard the stories, but they hear the stories, and they hear, like, grown men just okay with it. Like, nobody stepped in and was just like, no, this isn't appropriate. He was known for going to the high school, and nobody said, hey, yo, let's call the cops because we got a grown man. You know what I mean? Like, growing up, you always heard about the old seniors coming back, and they have their cars or whatever, and they're looking for the younger people. But, well, not old seniors, the old high schoolers.
Yeah.
But it was known that R. Kelly was going around to these high schools and,
at McDonald's and malls,
politicking with these young girls. and they seen him with them, driving them around, and nobody said, not one person said, what's going on?
Because he was famous and he was rich and he was talented and he was good looking and all these things or whatever, and so people looked the other way because you literally heard like he had bedrooms and beds in like all these different parts of his studio. There ain't that much fucking sleeping in the studio that you're doing. And then you have multiple women, famous, not famous, whatever, coming out and they having the same story. And the fact that he's like isolating people from each other so that you can't get in touch with them. It's all predator, characteristics. And like it was hard to watch, especially like I feel like hearing the people who either facilitated what was going on. So like his old, like, was it manager or like bodyguards? And they're like, oh, go over to a 16-year-old girl, like, oh, Mr. Kelly wants you, you to take his number or whatever. Nigga, you just as guilty.
Oh, nah. They were all guilty.
It was disgusting.
I wonder if R. Kelly has like a mental, like, if there's something mentally wrong with him that he, that he thinks the way he thinks.
Well, what I do know is that I think that this docuseries, whatever, is important because niggas have been giving R. Kelly passes for decades. And they're like, oh, I still like his song. I'm still going to dance this and another. I'm going to still play it. And
the Boondocks talked about it.
You right.
Fucking Chappelle Show talked about it. But the Boondocks literally had it when they had the trial.
Yep. And piss on your cat.
Yeah, but he started playing like
his song and
a line dance, and everybody's went crazy. I mean, we've talked about it, and
Aaron Magruder was on it.
So I mean, watching it is very it's very disturbing. But I am also one to say, like, with the sex tape, he was proven not guilty.
Really?
I'm just saying. I'm saying that we can hate him. We can hate him for who he was. Well, we haven't heard anything about him messing with younger girls now.
They were literally talking about it like last year.
I'm talking about in the documentary, he had like 13-year-old, 14-year-old. What we've been hearing is that he's been messing with young girls as far as like they're legal, but they're young.
So he's gotten wiser in his old age.
You could say he got wiser, or you could also say he was a product of his environment.
I just think that that's still making excuses for him.
I'm not making excuses, but
what environment? Was he? So because he was, like, well, as I heard one of his siblings say that they were like molested or something like that. But like, what did they say he was? I'm really not sure.
No. Well, one of his brothers was like, that's just what he likes. No, I don't agree with that.
His trash ass.
I mean,
jailbird brother.
I don't get attracted to young girls, so I can't sympathize. I can't empathize. Like,
yeah, it's not a preference. That's the thing. Like, that's a
how can you have a preference to a 16-year-old? They probably don't even know how to wipe good. Like,
the point I'm trying to make.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying the mindset. But when I say the product of his environment, like, nobody said anything back then because back then there were a lot of men who dated younger girls.
It was, and that's why a lot of niggas is quiet about this because it's the same things that they did.
It was like one of those unspoken rules in society.
Yeah.
Like, just don't get caught. I remember Mace had a song called "I Need to Be," featuring Manifa, I think her name is. And that used to be like my favorite song. I was like 10, 11. But it was him talking about messing with a chick who's underage and how she lied and shit like that. And I just like the story. I always liked the story of it. But that's kind of how I learned, like, you don't mess with a young girl. Does that make sense?
I guess, yeah. I guess I kind of understand that. But
saying that to say just... he may be canceled.
because you can't even say you can separate. And you always get on here, you get on me about separating the art from the artist. But as we watched in the series, you know, just the tip of the iceberg tonight, which is some of his art is based off of his life, based off of his experience. So the songs that me and you are bopping to are songs that were about women he abused.
I mean, he sounds like Donald Trump in the sense of like he's a sociopath. Like he knows what he's doing.
And he don't care. Because you just look
He thinks that he's
passport
smarter.
shit, song, whatever.
Oh, when he was in Ethiopia.
I guess I didn't hear it.
Oh, I'll play for you after. He was in like Ethiopia and he was like, "Do you have a passport? Do you have your shots? Do you want to come to America with Rob?" or something like that. And that was a part of it. But saying that to say, I look at it and I'm just like, you know, them talking about all the songs that he had and him it seems like he's flaunting it to the world. Like, I'm doing it.
Seems like it is, yeah.
Like, catch me if you can, pretty much.
I agree.
And that, you know, I mean, even the songs that I never cared about, Bump and Grind, even though I know people love it. I never cared about Aging. Not Aging Enough of My Number was, as you would say, a bop.
But listen to it, and she's talking about, he wrote a song about her wanting to have sex with an older man, and because, you know, he shouldn't take her age into consideration. I mean,
how? But see, that's when the worms get opened up. How does a record label listen to that song and be like, let that shit fly?
Because the motherfuckers was complicit, because they were like,
how does her parents allow for that song to play?
Being complicit, being like, this person has been helping my daughter's career, she is reaching heights of fame and success that she has not seen before, and going, and then so sometimes I'm not paying attention to it. And I'm not saying that people were blatantly ignoring it, but sometimes when you're looking at all the positives that are coming out of a situation, you are blind to the negatives that are also coming along with it, or the dangers that are coming along with it.
I can agree with that.
And so I'm not, but like that producer that was on the documentary,
producer was trash. The secretary was trash.
The bodyguards, the managers, and stuff like that.
A majority of the people there were trash. Some of the women were trash.
It's like, how would you bring this person, your family, around this person?
Some of the women were trash. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, let's have. You
talking about, like Sparkle?
Sparkle was trash.
Okay.
Sparkle was trash because she seen what was going on and she still worked with him.
Okay.
Like, and you know, I think that also hurts the situation because it's also like, where was the responsibility? Like it's like, is Sparkle saying that because her career failed? Is she saying these things? Like, you have to question everything, everybody's motive in these type of situations. Granted, like I said, he's still wrong.
Even the people who were saying that they were like abused by him, you got to question their motives?
For the people who were abused, I don't blame them.
Okay.
R. Kelly was wrong. I do blame their parents. 100%. I couldn't imagine Tatum telling me she wants to be a singer and I'm just going to drop her off to this grown man's house and I'm not there.
Oh, of course.
She's in the studio all types of hours and I'm not there. Or someone that I trust is not there. I don't understand that aspect. And I would never understand that. Just as a parent, like, but I guess for some parents, fame and the opportunity is more important than morals and what makes sense.
I can agree with that. And I also, too, I mean, they didn't really get into it yet, or maybe they will later, but I'm sure that it was like different dynamics. I'm sure there's people who have parents who looked the other way. Maybe there was other ones who like didn't have a strong home life, so that's why they went running that way. But I think ultimately it's like, but the main offender in here is Robert Kelly.
100%.
Because
So
he preyed on these fucking girls.
So-
and he's the one that had sex
So I
with
do
them.
have a question with it, though.
Uh-huh.
So we're canceling him. Are we canceling Michael Jackson?
Well,
Because he's had a long line of allegations. He went to court. He was found not guilty, but he has long allegations of sleeping with little boys. Mm-hmm. So do we cancel that? And then do we cancel any and everybody who's had any type of negative things that happen in their lives?
all right. I'm going to go on record and say that if you are guilty of and there is like strong evidence and argument for like beyond like it's like with R. Kelly, like there was video evidence, there is like a marriage license, there is things like that. So that gets stronger than I would say Michael Jackson. But I'll say this is that I'll go on record to say if there is strong evidence and claims to support the fact that you are doing something that is criminal, I do not care how great you are, how much of a musical genius you may be. You should not be you should not benefit from the success or that some of your actions have gained you, or you have to be. There needs to be consequences for your actions, and I think R. Kelly, quote unquote, trumps Michael Jackson in the sense that like
he's alive,
R. Kelly, well that, but then also too R. Kelly used music to lure these women, like to. I'm not saying because I know who Michael Jackson was. What I'm saying though, they wanted to be singers. They want those girls wanted to be so like he. Strung them along or whatever, and it was impressionable and all this stuff like that. Like, and then recorded it, and then playing, mind games with them and isolated them from their loved ones, and is still doing that for some people's arguments to this day.
I mean, like I told you, if they're 18 years old, they're fair game. It may not be right, but it's fair game.
No, it's 18-year-old, but R. Kelly is almost
They're
is
legal.
50. How old is he? He's like in his
okay.
How old is he?
He's old.
So he's still preying on young women. I don't care if you're 18 or not. He's doing illegal shit, but then he's also doing shit that is like morally wrong, and that's still wrong. So 18, you're not fair game.
You are fair game though.
Yeah. Yes,
you are legal.
Legally adult in the eyes of the United States.
It may not be right. I will agree with that. It's not right.
So don't say fair game.
No, it is fair game.
So
someone is 18 years old.
He's damn near 50, or he is something like that, and he finds an 18-year-old who wants to be a singer, and he tells her come to Atlanta, and come to my studio, and then like coerces her into having sex with him, starts to keep her occupied, and so that she starts losing contact with her loved ones or her family. But because she's 18 and she went willingly, because she can go willingly, that's all on her.
All I'm saying is
there's no sympathy. He's not a predator then. Is it a crime? No, but is he still fucked up for it? Absolutely.
Is he morally incorrect? 100%.
But don't say it's all fair game. Like, don't be like...
It is fair game, though.
So you have no sympathy for an 18-year-old who's under the spell of R. Kelly.
Okay, so if she was 21, it makes it more right?
No, it doesn't.
Right. So
he keeps preying on young women.
All I'm saying is that...
Teenagers to young women. People who are...
Once somebody is of legal age, whatever happens to that person of legal age is fair game.
Do you think...
I did not say that it was right. All I said was that they're fair game.
They're fair game in what sense? There's meaning they're
fair game.
He's not legally responsible.
Yeah,
we know he's not legally He's not legally culpable because they are.
If he gets an 18-year-old and that 18-year-old chooses to move out of her house and fall under his cult, whatever you want to call.
But then that's false. That could be false imprisonment.
It's not false imprisonment. They chose that. They made a choice.
No, you might choose to go, but then false imprisonment is when you're unable to leave. So if they feel that they're scared that they're gonna suffer some type of consequence if they try to leave, that's false imprisonment, which then brings it back into the legal side of it or into the criminal side of things. I do not agree that you can say that that's fair game because he is a lifelong predator.
I get
so
that.
If he is fucking,
I understand that, and I think that you're taking how you feel personally and you're not separating The fact.
It is. I feel like it is.
The fact is, if a 90-year-old man pulls an 18-year-old, they're legal. It is fair game. It may not be right. We're gonna look at them weird and all this other stuff, but it's fair game. When Anna
like
Nicole
the term
Smith,
fair game. That's all.
when Anna Nicole Smith married the
Whoever
old
the man,
dude,
yeah.
he was fair game.
Mm-hmm.
She got his inheritance and everything else.
Okay.
But it was a fair game. So that's all I'm saying.
So what I'm asking of you is okay, instead of saying fair game, you can say if somebody's 18 or older, then yeah, it's a like it becomes it moves away from being a legal issue or a criminal issue
to a moral issue.
Okay, that's fine. But saying fair game,
it's still fair game. You just don't like the word.
I don't like it because it sounds like you're saying it's. I don't like it because it sounds like you're saying that like it's like a shrug in the face of whatever is going on. It's kind of like, well, she chose to go because she's 18.
I'm not saying that.
You know how fucking stupid you are when you're 18 years old? Like,
okay, and then for the same people who say you're stupid at 18, there's other people who's going to say that women mature faster than men and all this other stuff. All I'm saying is that if he's legally doing whatever, I can not agree with it, but I can't be angry at somebody who's doing something legally. Donald Trump has bankrupted many of businesses.
Not all of that's been legal, but or at least hasn't necessarily been proven. But there's enough.
He's done stuff based off of
loopholes,
guidelines and that were there. It may not be the moral thing to do, but he did it to make it work for him. That's all I'm saying. So, on this quarrel, I will say that I may be more inclined to be on the side of canceling R. Kelly.
Okay.
I mean, I still got 2 songs in the chamber that I don't know if I'm just canceling just yet, but watching it's definitely disturbing. It's definitely, I mean, it's hard to watch. It's not something simple, and it's kind of like it's like you're punishing yourself. Like, you've heard the stories. Why watch it? Why live through that situation?
You've heard the rumors, but we've never seen many faces and names to the accusations. We've just always known that R. Kelly has been somebody who we've heard about the sex tape, and we heard about him marrying Aaliyah, and then
I mean, that's all you need.
And yeah, but now in just that 2 episodes alone, there was at least 4 to 5 women, and there's more to come. And then they were showing clips of stuff that was as of May of 2018, where people are looking for their children and there might be their quote unquote legal adult children, but they're trying to reclaim them because they haven't seen them in 3 years. They haven't seen them since in 2 years. And somebody who has been a lifelong predator, I don't care if a person is 18 or 17 or 16 or 21 or 23. When you are 10, 20, 30 years older than the people that you're preying on, and you're using your power, because quite honestly, even there's been situations, babe, where it's people in a position of being closer in age or being, older, a little older and wiser, but somebody flexes their authority or they flexes their access or their control or whatever over a person. They wield that over a person. And so a woman in this case will feel like she has to cooperate or she has to go along with it in order to make it to the next step. I'm not saying that it's the best decision. What I'm saying though is that as women, we are often backed into corners where we're coerced into saying and doing things that we may not have normally wanted to do, because there's a man standing in between my goals and where I am now, and doing whatever he wants is how I'm going to have that access, and he lords that over me. R. Kelly is a criminal. He's a predator, point blank, period, and he is still preying on women. He might have wised up and decided to start checking IDs and making sure that you're at least 18, but you are still fresh. You are still wet behind the ears. You don't know shit about shit when you're 18. You know a little bit about more by the time you're in your early 20s, whatever. But people think they know everything when they're that age, and then when you turn 30 and you realize you didn't know half of what you should know now when you were that young. And people are impressionable at that age because you're looking at somebody who is a mega celebrity. People move differently.
I get that.
People move differently when you're in the presence of somebody who's rich and famous. And I'll say this: are you? And because you use Tatum a lot too, you're telling me, and I mean. And this is obviously hypothetical because we are present parents and stuff like that. But are you telling me that if somebody of his caliber, with his background, were to introduce himself or have a run-in with 18-year-old Tatum, that she's fair game? Like, you can't, like, you're not...
Unfortunately, yes. If my 18-year-old daughter says, Pop, I'm out of here. She sat us down and said, listen, I'm 18 and I'm making my decision. And we said, no, you need to stay. She said, listen, I'm 18. I'm doing what I want.
You just gonna let her walk out the door.
There's nothing I can legally do.
You're not gonna go looking for her? We don't hear from her for 3 years?
Of course.
So now she goes willingly, but now she can't leave. We don't hear from her regularly. So, like, what are we doing then? It's still, quote-unquote, legally, but we're not...
Legally, what can I do? That's all I want to know. We seen the video. They called the cops. The cops came. Like, this is before the video that's going to come out in the next series. But we've heard the reports. The cops go to the house. They do their due diligence of what they have to do. They do a check. The women seem okay, so they have to leave. So now...
So how do you feel?
You can feel angry.
How
100%.
do you feel?
How do I feel about what?
How would you feel? Like,
I'd probably be pissed. 100%. I'm not saying that you can't feel pissed. I'm not saying that you can't be angry. But what I'm saying is that if someone makes a choice wrong and different, that's a choice that they made. If my child was 18 years old and she decides that she wants to fucking murder somebody, I can be furious. I can be hurt. I can be upset. But they made that choice. And we have to live with the choice that they make.
But you wouldn't hold him culpable at all.
I mean, yeah, he's wrong because he's older and he probably shouldn't have done whatever. But
so what would it take for you to cancel him all the way? Do you need him to admit to it?
I mean, my personality isn't just to cancel somebody. Like,
so what would it take for you to cancel somebody?
I don't know.
Would they have to be a murderer?
Not necessarily. You can murder somebody and be forgiven.
So there's nothing out there. There's like everybody has a redeemable quality that you won't write them off as far as people.
Right now in my life, yes. Right now, TJ at 30, yes. People can redeem themselves. I can separate who they are as an individual and their music. When I met Twister, when I was younger, he was a fucking dickhead. He was a dickhead, and that was because he was riding on Kanye's coattails, and you know what I mean? He thought he was bigger than what he was. In my mind, Twister, when everybody was like screaming his name, I mean, I wasn't screaming his name, but when everybody was screaming his name, and he should have acknowledged people, and he did not. And to me, like, you're nobody, bruh.
So he's canceled.
No, I still listen to slow jams that has Twister on there.
Uh-huh.
So saying that to say, like, to me, I'm not just canceling you just to cancel you. I'm not going to just.
I'm not telling you.
I'm not going to just cancel you.
I'm saying
I'm not going to cancel you musically because you're a piece of shit of a person.
Okay, you don't have to cancel somebody musically just because they're a piece of shit person. Because there's plenty of celebrities who are assholes in real life or whatever, but they're not criminals. They're not predators. They're not child rapists.
Some of these people were criminals. Some of these people were drug dealers. They're criminals.
Okay.
Some of these people have shot people or murdered people. We still. There's a video of Jay-Z mushing a girl.
Uh-huh.
Hard as shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not supposed to listen to Jay-Z no more? Jay-Z used to sell drugs. Am I supposed to listen to Jay-Z no more? Nas sold drugs. Am I supposed to listen to Nas anymore?
Okay.
There's been allegations that Nas beat on Khalees. So I'm not supposed to like Nas anymore?
So
Lisa Left Eye Lopez torched her man's house. Am I not supposed to listen to TLC anymore?
so there's always a loophole for you. It doesn't like
For me, right now, yes. I can't do what you can do.
and I don't think that those things necessarily compare to what R. Kelly is doing and has done.
Well,
but I understand
what
your
R. Kelly
point.
has been accused of doing.
Really?
You have to. Legally, you have to say he's being accused of it.
If it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck.
Listen, if you don't want to speak in the way that the world is, then that's perfectly fine. If someone murders somebody right now, they can't say he is a murderer because he has to be proven guilty.
He does.
So everything's being said,
But
as of right now, is allegations.
If he's standing
If
there
it is true,
with blood on
then
his hands.
If it is true, this is like some terrible things.
So
100%.
So the simple fact that he will, because R. Kelly's never going to admit that he did any of this shit.
That's cool.
That means that.
I don't care enough for R. Kelly. I like the songs that I like, and I'm probably still going to listen to my songs.
But that's the thing. I think that's why like it's easy for you to kind of be like indifferent towards it because it's like, well, I'm not a big R. Kelly fan anyway.
Okay, it could have been Drake. They could have said Drake is doing the same thing he's doing, and I probably would still listen to Drake. I would probably be like, fuck Drake as an individual, but his music still goes.
Even if his songs are about women who he assaulted.
I probably won't listen to those songs. If it's something that is clearly like bumping ground, I never cared for it anyway, but I'm not going to listen to it.
But if you did care for it, you would have listened to. You'd still listen to it.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
If after hearing it makes me feel uneasy, then no, I wouldn't. But just because I don't agree with the way that you think doesn't mean I'm wrong. Doesn't mean that I should be up in arms the way you are.
It doesn't. But I just think that like, and again, maybe I'm a part of Team Hypersensitive, but like, you're nodding your head yes for y'all who are listening.
I got close sensitive in the beginning, so it's not like it's
so. But
use it to try to paint a bad picture. So.
I'm not trying to paint a bad picture of you. I'm just trying to. I'm narrating. But the point I'm trying to make is like, you can call me sensitive, whatever. But I just feel like there's like there are lines that sometimes need to be drawn
for every individual. Everybody's different.
So you're just somebody who, if it bumps, if you like it, whatever content that person makes, they could be
at this time in my life.
They could be any type of horrible, vile human being
in my life,
and you will still support them and stream their music or listen to it or watch their movies or whatever.
Well, I wasn't buying it. I didn't buy his stuff, but at this time in my life, yes. If something makes me feel a certain way when I listen to it, like if I listen to R. Kelly's I Wish, I'm not going to be like, oh no, it's still a powerful song. It still takes me back to my childhood when I used to listen to it, and I can remember seeing the video and hearing the song. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. You can easily cut people off because of whatever. I just hope Beyonce never does anything cut worthy.
I hope so too. She's pretty unproblematic, but if some wild shit like this, if they come up with a 4-part docu-series about her being a sexual predator, as much as it might pain me, I'd have to cut the bitch loose. And we clearly have to agree to disagree, because I definitely don't agree with some of what you're saying. I understand it, But at the same,
And that's okay.
I understand, but I definitely can't agree with it. I just don't think that, like, I just feel
I'm
like
not
it's just like
asking
there's.
you to,
I'm not
asking you to agree with anything.
I know you're not asking me to agree. I just feel like
We're
there's just
having a
like
conversation.
when is enough enough? Like, what would you need in order to be like, I am not, this person is not even going to get my listenership.
So should I delete his catalogs?
I wouldn't care at this point.
I'm asking. We're going into somewhere else. When people do things wrong, should they delete their catalogs? Should their catalogs not be accessible on these sites?
If people delete R. Kelly's, I would not take issue with it. No.
Okay.
And obviously that's now that because then it becomes a thing about revenue over what's doing what might be right or what's a consequence for whatever. But because statute of limitations have passed on some of these things, because women don't come forward, because they're not often believed in these types of situations, you know, he's not going to serve jail time for probably any of the things that he did to these women because the time has passed. But
he's not. He's
not. Him losing
the smoking gun was the fucking videotape, and he was found not guilty on the videotape. That was a smoking gun.
Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying though,
but let's say he did go to jail. He comes home, and he says, "I'm a different person." Does he get a second chance, or is you're done with him?
I think
forever?
What I'll say is that had he actually been convicted and had he served time and he says he's rehabilitated and he demonstrated rehabilitation, then maybe new work or something like that, or like, you know, all that stuff like that. Maybe that's space for people to give him a second chance or whatever. But he has shown that he has no intention on changing anything. So he's not remorseful, and he damn sure ain't sorry. Yeah, he's not sorry, and he continues to do it. A little older, a little wiser with age range, but yeah,
A little nastier. That was a joke. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, we can agree to disagree. Again, I may cancel him. I don't know.
We can be sure to keep our listeners posted on whether or not you have. We'll see. Let's see by next week's episode.
Going to close out this episode. We had an argument in the beginning. We had an argument in the end, and
we sure did.
You know, quarreling
in 2019, carrying that over.
You know, so as always, you can find us at Twitter, Lovers Quarrel 7.
Correct.
IG, Lovers Quarrel Show.
Yep.
Send us your emails, loversquarrelshow@gmail.com.
All of that.
And as always,
I'm your girl Dani.
And I'm your guy TJ.
And you know that we fuss.
And we fight, but we
love. Bye.
Later, y'all.
Bye-bye.